Well, good evening all. Oh, too much power there in the audio. Take that down a bit and mute that. Welcome to the BATC QO-100 Net. First of all, my thanks to Noel. Yeah, all right, Mike, it was 11. My thanks to Noel for running the net the last couple of weeks while I've been out of commission. But good to see it still going on. Good evening to all the watchers, Tim and a number of other stations there watching tonight, both on the stream, which I will check is still working. Yep, it is. For those watching on the stream, by the way, all the chat happens on the QO100 web SDR, so please put any comments in there. Right, what's going on? Well, the planning at this end is for the contest on the 12th, 13th of June. Getting ready for that. To that end, we're probably going to have a mini activity day on the 5th of June, seeing as the weather was so bad at the last activity weekend. So that's Saturday the 5th of June. A few of us will go out, So perhaps prep for that. I think Colin is already preparing for that, which is good to see. Don't forget the RSGB have got a survey on behalf of the IARU. They'd all like you to fill in. So that's worth a look as well. Seem to have a good list on the net tonight. The order will be Bernie G4HJW. Bernie, if you can get ready to go first. Followed by Duncan, I think was on. Followed by John G7JTT, Roger G8HKN, Colin G4JW, James G0DQATG, Richard G4DOH, and then Nick G4NKV. That's all I have at the moment. Please come up on the chat if you'd also like to join. So without further ado, straight round to Bernie, G4HJW, and the net, G8GKQ.
Good evening all, G4HJW. I just needed to set up the level because I was on 2 meters for a rather long time tonight and I didn't have a chance to set things up, so I'm just making sure everything's okay, which I think it is. I don't have an awful lot to say tonight, which is why I'll leave it at 1 over, but last week it was rather embarrassing. Just go over to video. I knew my receive dish got a little bit knocked and wasn't giving me very good signals, and they were particularly bad last week, and I'd been relying on the streamer, and I had an internet problem, as I think some of you might remember, and unfortunately I had no idea really what was going on, but the internet just sorted itself out. And late on this afternoon I thought, I'll just check the dish, the little meter I made up, and I'm getting really good signals on good signals at the minute. For me, the 10 dB on the beacon is pretty good. I'm very happy with that, and I didn't think I got it spot on either, but the weather here is fairly rough, a little bit rainy as well. So I left it as it was, not fully optimised, and still getting the 10 dB. So I'm quite happy with that. I was looking on earlier. I saw the South African station, Gary. Good evening to you if you're watching. It was really nice to see South African station on. I did work another South African station on a few months ago on the narrowband section, but it's the first time I've seen video from there, so that was really nice to see. So good evening to you if you're watching. Okay, I'll put it straight over to Duncan. As I say, I don't have an awful lot to add today, so on to you, Duncan. G7 VVF and the group G4HJW. I'll just put the card on just for a second or two.
Hang on, I seem to have made it. Hopefully you can hear me. Much to my surprise, because I don't remember actually saying that I was going to come up. But there you go. Perhaps someone saw me earlier, and someone might have seen me playing around and assumed, which is very nice of you. Thank you very much. And moments before I was about to do something, the computer crashed, so I had to restart the computer and everything like that. But it's all going again now, so there we go. I don't know, I've had a little bit of success this week. I've been playing around with the old Ryde, and in the box... Oh, where's it gone? In that box, I think you saw last week, I have also fitted the mini tuner. It's upside down in there. There you go, and a nice little USB lead. So this is getting ready to go and live up at EN, hopefully, in the not too distant future. I've got it scanning a few frequencies. I might try 23 and 77s. The only thing is, it's got quite a long scan period, because I've got, I think for 77s, I've got 333 and 2 meg, and for 23 I've got 333, 1 and 4. And the only trouble is, of course, when you do the scanning, it will scan all of those for each frequency, so it's about 40 seconds I think, but we'll see how it works out. Who knows what happens. But anyway, it's an ongoing project, so that's good. Oh, these things. Now maybe Mike can help me out with these if he's around. I'm not having much success with these at all. One of them, if you put 12 volts in, gives about 11.9 out, and the other one gives about 5 out. Clearly that one's not working at all, but the 11.9 on this, I presume it should be 13 and 18, because 11.9 is not enough to drive the L&B. I don't get any signal at all, so I haven't really looked into it. I think it's something to do, well, I understand that chip, the outputs are dependent on the resistors around it, but other than that I've not really looked into it anymore. But if anyone has any has been there before and knows something I don't, that'd be great. Right, well, that'll do for now, I think. So round to John G7JTT, I think. Yes, Mike, I've checked the diodes several times against your picture and everything, I think. But I'll have another look. They're both the same. The components look both the same on the two. Yet one does something different to the other as well, which is a bit odd, but there you go. Yeah. No, you can't see that. Not enough light. Yeah, okay. I'll send you a picture or something. What's the large round thing? That's the choke or the inductor that I couldn't get hold of. That had a long lead time. So that's a 10 microhenry round one, radial, off of eBay somewhere. The big flat thing. This should do 2.5 amps or something, so it should be alright. Right, okay, enough from me then. Round to G7JTT.
Right, okay. Apologies for the weak signal, it's everything. I'm guessing I'm getting sound. Hang on a second. Yeah. Right. The thing you saw in the little black box, it's sitting on the bed just there, and it's connected into the main PA by a short length of cable, which is working well. It certainly seems to produce a reasonable. The Pi version 2 camera, I think it is. It's not the original one, it's the newer one, but not the ultra new one. So it will lead up. I showed you last week with regards to the the only other thing I've done today, which I can't really show you, is down underneath there. I got a new power supply for Jim. Extremely pleased with it. It's replaced an aging power supply that was just getting noisier and noisier and noisier. The long and the short of it is that several years ago probably drew a bit too much current for it, and I'm guessing the enamel on the wires of the transformer broke down, and he had a magic smoke and bang, and everything came out. And at the time I was in, so get the cable and rewind the transformer manually, which kind of works, but has never been as good as obviously a machine one. And then a couple of weeks ago I popped some transistors, it's getting on its old legs, and it's definitely nice to be able to I've ordered a board, by the way. Cost £5 from the UK and probably a quid or so from China for a bit of weight, but it fits in between the fan, and it's got 3 stages on it, which is really quite nice. The first one, it's just tickles the fan round, so it still keeps it going, but just trickles it, and then it goes to 50% of the fan, and then when it gets to 40 degrees it goes to full power. So I think on the spec it says something like about 50 or 60 degrees anyway, is its safe working limit, so that seems to be fine. Fit the switch to it as well, so there's a link on there that you can remove and fit a switch in between, so now I can switch it on and off without having to keep unplugging the plug all the time. Although it does seem to stay live internally, so it's probably not something I'd leave on all the time. Okay, right, with that, round to Roger, G8HKN in the group, G7JTT.
One, two, test. One, two, test. Right, good evening. I'm going for a competition to see how much junk I can put on the screen in one go. And so I will continue the theme on this screen. Haven't been on for a few weeks, so I thought I'd better pop up and let you know I'm still around. I've got no quiz tonight where you've got to identify anything, so that'd be a relief. And I've got a few things to show you, but I'm not sure in what order to do this, so bear with me a moment while I try and select things. I think the first one we'll do is I'll try and show you the squirrel in our garden, which will be on any second now, and then I'll get back to some moving, some still pictures rather than moving. I've greased the pole since these pictures were taken. It's only been up there once since. But, that dome has got a crack in the back of it, and I don't want it damaged, so I have to put a stop to that straight away. Right. Let's come back to me. The other thing is that there's been a lot of talk about railways and train sets recently, so I thought I'd show you my big train set. It's extremely big. It's the biggest train set in the country, and I've had to do a still picture of it, and this is it. It's it's cheating. It's British Rail, and this is a program called Raildar, raildar.co.uk I think it is. When you switch it on and bring up the map, it comes up in the Midlands or somewhere around Rugby, and you can move it to your own area, and you can also select your own station, and it's all moving in real time, but it wouldn't be very clear, so I've done the best I could with a still picture I took the other week. You can also bring up the where the train is and what stations, and the timing, and the one shown there is at Petswood, the next station up from me at Orpington. So that's the train set, and let's see what else I can find. I'll leave me in the background on this one. That's the transmit dish, and there was a big concrete area in front of it. Well, now it's got some artificial grass, which is rolled up at the moment because the wind blew it up. I've got to find a way of fixing that down. And Next thing is, it was mentioned recently by Martin FKK that BBC was showing a training film on safety, and it was Fred Dibner, which then reminded me that I have a picture of Fred Dibner and me from quite a few years back now. And I've just realised you may not have seen the grass. So let me try that again, just in case. Maybe I didn't move it over to the program window, but there we go. Not that interesting really, but just something to show you. And the only other thing I was going to show was the change to another camera, which is the back view. And using this camera does sometimes crash the computer, so keeping my fingers crossed. And on the small netbook there is the security camera looking out the front. I have to keep this camera view dark, otherwise the screens bleach out. The only one is the really scary one, which is the full-size camera. And the fun of OBS. Right, I'll put it back to the test card and pass it over to Colin, who's finished on his net. Colin G4KRB from N and the BATC Net.
Okay then, thanks a lot. Right. Okay then, thanks a lot. Let's just kill that audio. There we go. I was about to set up another camera that should be working, but clearly isn't. But this one is. I thought I've got two cameras parked up on the top there. I could move one over, but this one's not working at the moment for some reason. Some OBS issue or something. It wasn't up when I started OBS. I think that's why. So there we are. Anyway, so I'll probably show more things on the next over. So this one will be a bit shorter, I think. Been very busy week this week. All sorts of things going on here. I'm trying to get the van ready to go out. I can't be sure I can actually do it, but I knew there was things that needed to be done. I had troubles with the mast not staying up, so but I've tracked that problem down. I've got a pressure relief valve, a safety valve that's leaking air. So I'm very pleased it's not the seals in the much bigger job. But trying to track one down is a bit tricky. So I've spent the day. I spent a bit of time today finding out what it is and everything, and cleaned it all up. So hopefully it'll go all right. Yeah, and I've finally got. I was going to show this a different way, but I can do it on here. Oh well, that's another thing I've been doing. There's a bit more to the repeater. We've now got a nice screen in there, and I was slightly embarrassed when I first showed it before it went in. There was a small part that wasn't actually square, because I'd just done a sort of a test fit, and Keith down there in Cornwall said that's not square. So I've made sure it's square now, and I've moved it slightly over. The idea was that you could see the right hand side of the screen. You can see all of the screen, but in there is a frosted bit, and it just stops you seeing the white bit behind. But anyway, not to worry. So we've got to try, and this is the new GB3 SQ, that's been under construction for a little while. It has to be has to be said. So a way of using some parrot nodes like mold grip type thing. That's the valve that was leaking on the van. So been doing, yeah, it just goes in there. Look, just goes in there. There it is, sort of stripped out. That's I went into the van. I only went into the van to check the batteries, because I'm thinking it's been a while since I've checked the electrolyte level, and so I was half expecting going, but fortunately it wasn't. So I was pleased about that. But we now have a ports down 2020. Let's do it. That's in operating position. If I got a camera today, go on, you can focus on that. There we go. So there it is in the ready to go. So I say this is a bit of an elderly one, really, because it's got the filter modulator in it, and a line. So I'll probably mainly be using the line, but before ports. And thought I had the probably enough from me, because otherwise hour. And let's have a look. Oh, it's over to Mike now. Do you take it?
I'll add a bit more coal to the fire, I think. So, it's raining quite a lot. The weather is not good here. The wind's pretty bad as well. Hopefully the signal is strong enough, and yes, Gareth. Actually, I probably have another one at some point as well, because I think I'll take the big one off the top of the Land Rover and put it onto the use a smaller one that I got off Noel, because the thing with having that great big mast on the Land Rover is it's not that easy to go around corners. Not an advisable activity, really. Okay, so there's a couple of things to comment on. The issues with the LNB board. Not sure exactly what the problem is, but you do need to make sure you have it plugged in to the ports down and controlled before you measure the voltages, because the resistors that are on there enable the outputs. So you shouldn't be getting any output if it's not been turned on. It should turn itself off, but it could be that something's not quite built right, or it might be something else, or maybe you've got a new variant of the chip. I'm sure you've built it right. I did wonder whether you'd got some of the diodes the wrong way around, because that would be a problem, obviously, but apparently not. So, I mean, all mine have worked, so I don't know. But let me see a picture of it, and I'll see if I can see anything obvious. It was really only ever a side project that became a major project. We ought to put something more on the wiki. Right, here's what I'm going to show. Not very much. Unfortunately, we've been somewhat let down by the dealer in AliExpress supplying MOSFETs. So I got nearly all the parts. I was missing a 39 nanohenry inductor and a 47 nanohenry inductor. I've got those on order. But I did have
47 nanohenry ceramic inductors, so I put those in, and I put two 80 nanohenries in parallel, hoping that would make it work as a 39 nanohenry or 40 nanohenry, and we'll see if that works or not. So far, all I've tested is the local oscillator works, which it does, and it appears to be about the right level, although my scope doesn't go quite high enough in frequency. It's a 50 megahertz scope, but because it's a Ryde scope, just changing the firmware makes it 100 megahertz scope, because they're exactly the same, but it doesn't make it 120 megahertz scope. So what I did was I compared the amplitude of the sine wave that I measured with the amplitude of a sine wave of known power from my signal generator, and that should give me an idea, and it's about 7 dBm-ish, maybe a bit more, plus or minus 10 dB anyway, close enough. So we'll see if that works when the final couple of bits arrive, which are the non-populated pads on that board at the moment. I made two designs actually. One uses it as a crystal oscillator with the G4DDK design, but it turns out that it's virtually impossible to buy crystals these days, not without spending a lot of money. So this board here uses a module, and I'll turn it over now so you can see the other side. Get it the right way up. It's a little crystal oscillator module. Of course, the one I managed to get off eBay doesn't quite fit, but it's modulable. So I will change the pads a little bit, and I have done that already actually, make them a bit bigger to accommodate different sizes. And it uses just a mixer and a relay for transmit receive. I've said all of this without explaining what it is, but it's a 10 meter to 2 meter converter for DVB-T. Okay, I don't think I've got, so let's find my test card and pass it on to, who is it? G0DQH, G0MJW.
Make sure I've got it working. And muting. And yes, I know the lip sync is terrible. It's miles out, and I can't understand what's happened there. It's probably because it just needs rebooting. But I'm not going to worry about it. It doesn't bother me much. Anyway, I haven't got much to add myself, except to say good evening everybody, and hope everybody's okay. Not a lot being going on. I've been making a few power meters, and so it's just been like a nice steady production line really. So nothing fantastic to report at all. So I'll just pass it on, I think, and I might have something else to say in the next row. But anyway, it's round to GI4 DOH from G7NTG with the group.
It's G7NTG with the group. This is GI4 DOH. Good evening, everybody. And you can tell I didn't turn down my volume before I started there. Yeah, I missed a week because of our local club meeting, and then I wasn't feeling particularly sociable last Thursday, so I gave it a miss. But here I am, and it's not quite daylight because it's a wet, miserable day, but I think the worst of it has actually passed us, or as we're in the eye of the storm and it's going to pick up again. So far, everything has survived. The dish is fairly well sheltered from the wind, but there are other aerials like a cobweb and a vertical and 3-element Yagi for 6 meters, which got a bit of use. Thursday, must have been Tuesday. Worked a few countries around Europe. Didn't actually try pointing it towards the States, although people did report that there were which camera am I on? No, this camera. Could go over if I'd prepared myself in time. I think, yes, and I have audio as well. This is another Nokia amplifier. This is the one with the non-bolted down components in it, and the intention is to try and get a bit more power out of this than the one that I'm currently using. So the idea is to feed it with 32 volts as opposed to 28 volts, which I'm doing with the other one. So actually in my little box and control unit, I've got a little board in here, just watching on the camera, that little PCB with a buck converter to give me 28 volts, which I need for the driver stages and also to feed my PTT circuitry, but also let the 32 volts go through. Because I've already got an I2C interface with the camera, back to this one with the I2C interface and an Arduino Nano, which I already use to monitor the temperature with the built-in temperature sensor. I've ordered, I think it's an INA226 development board with a little voltage current sensor, and intend integrating that. That's I2C as well, so I'll be able to display the voltage and current allegedly, and hopefully not burn out the track on the printed circuit board. I've use the widest track I could on both sides in parallel, and we'll have a decent layer of solder on it as well. So might not work. It's a bit like the RF sensor that I used on the original one, that I just couldn't get that to work. That had an analog output, and I suspect that there was just a bit too much noise and earth returns and things like that, so I gave up on that. But that allows me capacity on the Arduino for another I2C sensor. So that's about it. I'm getting there. Still a bit to go, but hopefully in a few days I'll be putting RF through that. And just, Jim, while you were on there, reminded me of wrong camera. This camera. I've still got the other little amplifier kit to put together at some stage. That's on the list of things to do. So I'll pass it on. I think it's Nick G4 NKV to take it with the group. This is GI4DOH.
How are we on? Okay, we seem to be working okay. Hope I've got a audio there. Controls on my headphones have stopped working. Anyway, yeah, seems I've got some same issues that Collins had. Compressor issues. Got a compressor and it would not work. It kept blowing it kept running all the time and blowing the safety valve. Turns out I thought it was the pressure switch that wasn't working, but what it turns out to be, it was the actual itself, the safety valve. This is the one I removed from it. I bought a new one from eBay and fitted it on. I found out that I could actually adjust that one. It was adjustable, so the compressor's going again. And talking about mass, I hadn't had mine up for such a long time. I remember I tried to get it up, not this winter, but last winter. I normally get it up every so often, just to get the water out of the system. And I got it up to the full height, and I thought, yeah, all the water's blown out. Lower it and release the pressure. Oops, oh dear, it wouldn't come down. I thought, oh Christ, well, there it is, 12 foot up, sorry, 12 metres, and a bit of wind on it and it'll be over. I tried pulling up coax cables, it didn't have much joy, but after a while it did come down, and what it turned out, it was because it was cold weather. I think the water had frozen in the valve at the bottom. Reducing pressure, of course, it would freeze, and there it was stuck in its up position. Not got much done on any construction recently, but been tidying up. I don't know if everybody else is like me, much of a hoarder, and I've been throwing tons of stuff away. And while I was throwing things away, I come across something. Let's see if this will work. There we are. If I can just take this back to the beginning. There's what I found. It was amongst a pile of power supplies. It's one I built when I was still at school, so it's very old. It was, if I remember right, this was built in into a old battery charger case. It was something, as I said, I built while I was still at school. It was from a practical wireless design, There's what it looks like inside. Oh, really neat construction, eh? Not compared to what it is now. That was the board I removed. Bakelite board. It was a PCB I made, and you can see from the other side. Yeah, right. It was not much of good construction, but yeah, it's what I made when I was still at school. I remember using the cooker in my parents' house with ferric chloride, keeping it warm, and etching that board there. And to drill the holes in it, I had a really nice drill. Yeah, that's what I had, and I've recently just thrown that one away, and I've then got a better one. Nothing like what you use now, is it? And this is the design it actually was from. A Practical Wireless design. I found it in December 71 issue of Practical Wireless. So we've moved on from building things like that to building things like this. I hope they're a little bit better now, and that's the current transmitter I'm using. So there you go. Just had an email, actually, another one. Let's get back to the proper thing here. Fade over. Yeah, here we go. Just received about 15 minutes ago another email from Ofcom. It seems there's been some problems with some links in the last email they sent out a few days ago about the variation, i.e. the EMF regulations. Anyway, I expect you'll all be getting those emails through very shortly. Yeah, I've done some calculations. I've done them for 270, 23, and even for the dish as far as I can manage. So I've been getting compliant. I've still got some more ways to go. So there you go. Anyway, I think over now it's Nigel next, isn't it? 2E0EHH.
if I transmit a local signal on 1275 in. It does not. Went to the just to let you know what's been happening up in York. In there.
AZQ G8GKQ. Kill that. Right, thanks for all the contributions tonight. That's good. Tony, the Winter Hill. I would suggest it's possibly interference from the HDMI lead getting back into the RF. That's one thing to look at. And I know Mike suggests it might be a VSWR null in the feeder cable. But the trick I used was to put a spectrum analyzer on the aerial input, and then you see how much HDMI rubbish gets on the aerial. without a tuner, without a LNB connected. So that's one possibility for you. Nigel, good to see you on the net. You were slightly broken here, but I think that's probably the wind on my dish. But most of the time D2, so really good to see you, and your audio works well with that headset. I think that microphone you were trying earlier was too low in output. Tonight's theme could be power supplies built while you were at school. That's mine, still in use. It's had some changes recently. It's gained an IEC connector for power input rather than a bulge. It used to have a bulge-in power input connector on it, but that's my school power supply. James G0DQH, if you can go to FEC 2/3 on your transmissions, you were 9/10, and some people had trouble receiving you. Colin, there's nothing wrong with the Portsdown 2020. I'm transmitting with the Portsdown 2020 tonight, and I sold a Portsdown 2020 card today. Generally about a quarter of the cards the shop sells are Portsdown 2020s. And John, good to see your portable kit working. Duncan, sorry that I pulled you in. I mistakenly saw you on the receiver and assumed you were on channel, but actually you were on the one below. But good to see you on, and good to see the Ryde coming together for EN. What's been going on here? Well, the first thing is I've been the garden's been remodelled, and everybody wants to see that, of course. So there we go. That's what the garden now looks like. There's more work to do on it, but you can see the dish on the left there, bike shed at the right hand side, and the patio in the middle, in the far corner that my son says is a stage. Which bands am I getting to play on it? Well, actually, hopefully we can sit there in the sun. The other thing I wanted to show was this fella here. Just a moment, I'll just pull it up. Let's get that in view and then go for the fade. That is a 12 gig oscillator known as an SLO, made by an Italian company, Naught, a Naught synthesized local oscillator. You can just about see the SMA on the end there for scale, and it plugs in by there's a 6-pin connector there that takes in 12 volts and SPI signals. And I have added that to the Portsdown signal generator, so you can tap in 12.001 megs and get a 12.001 megs signal out of there, mainly for testing. So that's been this week's software. Together we're doing some work on the Ryde. For Tim of Pi FTDI. It works in new build, but trouble with changing versions in existing builds. But I haven't had much time to sort it out. I'll come back to you once I get some solid info, but looking to release that new version. So that's all I have. Again, I know Bernie has pulled out, as has James. So round to Duncan. G7VVF and the group G8GKQ.
Camera. Maybe that will do I have any sound? Oh yeah, there we go. Rightio, fine. Okay. There we go then. I think we were quite lucky to see that. Apparently they do that once or twice and then they leave the nest for good and they go off down the river to wherever they want to go. That's it. So that was either their first or second time for the cygnets in the water. So quite privileged to see that, I think. There we go. We've been watching them on a walk for a while, seeing their nest being built and everything like that. And finally didn't see them hatch exactly, but probably saw them the day after. Right, that's it for me really. That's me.
Right, let's see if that just comes in. Test 1, 2. Right, okay, I've got a different microphone at the moment. Hopefully that's a bit louder for you. And yeah, there used to be a swan nest on the river near where I work. But I think this is the first year I've never seen Oh, I haven't seen it. Nesta. 15 odd years I've worked at this place. No, nearly 20 years I think. And it's always nested there, but I say this year I think it's the first year I've not seen it, so it's a shame. I think they breed for life, if I'm rightly, so maybe it's just the way things are. With regards to Storm, I don't know if he's going to come out. Right. Hang on. Right. This is all a bit foreign to me, having to sort of do it this way around, but right, is it going to work? No, the camera's off. Hang on. Right, there we go. So see the red is just coming at the southwest at the moment, and the south coast is going to get it through tonight, which is going to be fun because I'm fairly convinced the tree over the back of us may not be there in the morning. It's proper rattling all over the place, and fences, dishes and everything else. I just keep my fingers crossed that they're still there in the morning. Right, I've got to go, as I should have been in bed. Great to see everybody on, and yeah, it's nice to see this is actually working. So it's basically a Portsdown 4 Lime SDR, and that's it really. It's got the mini tuner and everything in there as well, but running off of batteries. So it's been going for over an hour now, so the batteries last quite a while now, and yeah, quite over the weekend. So hopefully when you're out, is it next weekend, whenever it is, I may be able to sneak away for an hour or so and do something as well. Okay, 7 3's all, and round 2 I've forgotten already. Roger, G8HKN, G7JTT in the group.
One, two. One, two. Okay, dispute's been settled. And I'm back on. Right, so not too much to say this time round. A quick question for Colin while I remember. I wonder how you're getting on regarding interference. Either you're interfering with the smart meters or the smart meters are interfering with you. I just wonder if you've had any problems so far, as we're getting pestered by electricity and gas at the moment. We've got a smart water meter, but it's not very smart. We'll have to get it because it's not strong enough to be picked up by wherever they pick it up from. So I just wondered, Colin, how you're getting on with the meters, if there's been any problems with interference one way or the other. To Mike, it would be useful to redirect the trains, wouldn't it? The ultimate hack, I think. It can be handy, because if we go up to London, you would get a Hastings train to London, and it's fast to London Bridge, so we could actually check before we leave whether the train is actually on its way. It could break down on the way, obviously, but there we go. And Mike, your new beam is waving about in the wind, and I believe we have another storm coming on Sunday, and was hoping to go away for a day next week, but it doesn't look like it's going to improve much. So summer's not starting till June, or maybe later. Who knows? James, I think, has gone, but if he's still listening, yes, FEC of 9/10 was causing problems. Not with me, but with some other stations. I think Bernie's gone. There was a caption I was going to show Bernie, but that's for another time. Jim, the lip sync wasn't too bad. Nowhere near as bad as Duncan's. It was horrendous. And intermittent audio problems all the time there, Duncan. Nick, looks like you're watching the Together channel again in the background there. I think I saw Charlie Dimmock. Quite a good channel, but it does have its technical issues. I think it is a community channel which may not have the full power. And good to see Nigel. Excellent. And Dave GKQ, nice to see the garden from a different angle other than the stream from the upstairs window. It's quite interesting seeing the chap smoking on your patio while his two colleagues did all the work. And I wasn't sure where the dish was going to go, but of course I couldn't see it from that angle. But there we go. Right, I think that's about it from me. I can't think of anything else I was going to show you. I do have a video of the foxes, but that was last year about this time, and no fox cubs have appeared this year, so it could be just that they were early last year because a dog got into their burrow or set or whatever it is. Maybe they're a bit later this year. Right, I think that's all from me. Tomorrow evening I have a choice of a couple of things to do. Early evening I'm going to be listening to Trade Test Radio on the internet, and then later in the evening I shall probably try and watch the Bob Fisk and his crew net on the streamer. Wasn't on last week, but that's always an interesting net to listen to. Right, there we go. Now, who was it? Oh yes, it's round to Colin. See if I can find a test card. If not, we'll just go crashing out. But let's just get rid of it. All right, here we go. Right, GLB in the group to take it from G8HKN. Good night, all.
Right, thanks a lot. Excellent. Right, thanks a lot. Okay, that's all working. I don't know how people manage all these different things on there. There, oh no, wrong one. There we go. Yeah, gotta push the right buttons. Yeah, okay then. Let's do the smart meter first. I haven't noticed any problems either way with QRM regarding the smart meter. The actual device that they've given me to monitor the usage has failed on me. It started off, it took a couple of days before it would read the gas. I think that's normal. But now it does the gas and the electric. Now it doesn't give me any readings for electricity at all. Although when I go on the website and check, the readings are being sent to them. So that's working, but the little device, I've been complaining for 2 weeks now. I've had various emails, well, I've had 2 emails back. I suspect it's language, judging by the replies. I tried to circumvent some of it by telling them exactly what I'd done to reset it and everything, but they just told me the same stock answer. But anyway, but that's not really what you wanted to know about the QRM issue. I have had a strange signal bringing up a Ryde on SQ, but I don't think it's anything to do with the smart meter necessarily. but it seemed to be. I put a mini tuner on, and I could see it seemed to be on 250, an S symbol rate of 250, giving me the best sort of reading. But it was just going on, off, on, off, on, off, on, off. I don't know what it is. Whether it's relevant, I'm not really sure. I'm hoping not, because once you've got one of these darn things, you seem to be stuck with it. So there we go. Oh, yours has never read the gas, always reads the electric. Oh, okay. Yes, I've sort of complained about it and will continue to do so. Although I'll probably stop looking at it after a while, but it's the novelty of it. But and it's been for a month now, I think. So that's a bit of a nuisance because the device is sending. There's LEDs on there that tell you what it's. Gas comes through the electric meter. That's where it transmits from. But that I've observed, just got this odd signal that I haven't tracked down yet. It keeps bringing up the Ryde on SQ on occasions, but it does seem to be directional because I can turn the beam and it comes and goes. So I'm not. That's probably not relevant, I should think. I've got my list here now. We're in the throes of the storm. Unfortunately, I have damage. I was SQ earlier, and I was just wanted to show the dish shaking because it was whenever I put a camera on it, it stops. But unfortunately, what I observed, and I zoomed in on the camcorder, I observed a tear has occurred in the dish face. It's actually torn. It's about so big. And we're not through the worst of it yet. We've got 2 days of this. So that dish is in a really dodgy. This dish that I'm using now is in a really dodgy position at the moment, and it needs to be remedied now. Really, I should have been out there now bolting something on it to stop the tear from getting any worse. But I say it's ripped the dish face, so that's a bit of a nuisance. It's a big nuisance actually, but we still seem to be holding up signal wise. I'm surprised it's doing as well as it is actually. So, oh dear, oh dear. Anyway, well that drill, not the first drill, not the manual one, but the second drill. We used to have one of those. In fact, we still have one of those, and I believe ours came from Woolworths, where at the time everything was sixpence. This is a story my father told me, obviously. Everything was sixpence, and so what they did is, because that drill was worth more than sixpence, they sold it in pieces. So you buy the chuck for sixpence, and you buy the handle for sixpence, and then the wheel. I said, "Why is this quick release?" He said, "Because that's how they sold it. It's got quick release. You can take the handle off, because they sold it in parts." That was that's a story there. I've tried to shorten it. I'm doing my best to try and shorten it. So there we are. Okay, well, that's only a short list, unfortunately. So let's have a look at this camera. I've got this camera working now. I had to take it out of OBS. Here we are. Let's minimize that. There we go. That'll be better. Now I can't see what I'm pointing at. Can't see what I'm pointing at now. So there we are. We've got 2 winter hills. There's well, I'm going to guess that I'm going to point at the winter hill. There's one winter hill. The other one is hiding behind the knucker over there. But this program that I'm not sure if it's been released yet, but as far as I'm concerned, it's good to go. From Rob M0DTS has converted this quick tune viewer to enable you to have up to 8. He did show it last time, I think. It's the same version as before. So I'm using actually his viewer. I alternate between them, but this one fits the page at the moment. That there, I think. Oh, my signal's going on. I may have to. I may have to. Dear oh dear, it's beating the dish to bits now. Eventually, if it falls off, it's going to land next door. That's the only worry, because it'll hit the shed and come off next door. But anyway, that's that. And while we're on the subject of PSUs, let me just bring up something so I can actually see where I'm pointing. Here is a PSU up here that I built. That's my first power supply. That one that's made of wood. It never has. I never did put a back on it. That's 13.8 volts at 5 amps, which I used to use for all my rigs. To look at. In fact, it's nothing to look at really. But that has been in every. Travelled around all over the place. That isn't much. There isn't much to it. I'm not. Okay, that's it. Let's do the shack. Look, there you are. Let me get back to this camera so I can let go of this one. There we go. That's it. Straight. But still, yeah, so hopefully this dish is going to survive. I'm not sure it will because the forecast is not good. It's not good at all really, and there are other aerials that are in jeopardy as well. So I've sort of pushed the boat out this week and tried to get on with a few more jobs ready, and I'm determined to get on with this repeater because it people have been telling me how long I've been building this blinking thing. I must get on with it. So I had a bit of a go this week. I've done the same job twice because I'm trying to make it. When I say perfect, nothing's ever perfect, but I'm trying to make it as good as I can. And so I needed to do. I've just did that today. Actually, got that done. So I need to get on with a bit more wiring and this, that, and the other, because I want my desk back. Really, I can't. I got my workspace is full of heater that's spread all over. So there, or it's mic next. So there we go. Okay then, that's enough from me. I think so. M0 MJW. What did I also for some reason? G0 G0 more rest, I think. G.
Okay, G4 LBK, G0 MJW. Yeah, so it's still windy outside. It's getting a bit darker now, but hopefully the beam will survive. I only put it up at the weekend last week. It's a 10-metre beam, and it's aimed at the US at the moment, but I can point it in different directions, although there's quite a delay on this camera, so you probably won't see that. Right. Go over to this one. Oh, there it goes. Right, go over to this camera. Not a lot else to add, I think. The only thing I was going to show you was maybe a picture of this, which is the setup now that I'm using. I've actually modified it a bit further and removed that power supply that was sitting there. I haven't got any power supplies to show. I really ought to change this temporary setup so that it's a bit more permanent. But it consists of the Pluto, the Leo Bodner reference, which is hiding in the corner, a power supply and a stealth microwave amplifier, and the black box in the middle saying star on it is the first prototype Winter Hill. I've now put the second prototype Winter Hill down there, and I realised that really you don't need two Winter Hills, so I'm not quite sure what to do about that. But yeah, too many Winter Hills. But I had to build one to make sure it worked, because we weren't going to release it not tested. So now I have to worry about Duncan's boards, but I'm sure we'll get to the bottom of that. Okay, really good to hear everybody on the net, and nice to see so many people on again. It's been good to large net after a few nets which were quite small. So all good. Catch everyone next week, hopefully. Now, who is it next? It's Richard, GI4DOH. Over to you, G0MJW.
GI4DOH. Whack-a-mole, they disappear before I get to them, so it'd be nice to be able to display more than one channel at a time. Someday, you see the fan has just started on my power supply there. I think I mentioned when I first came on a couple of months ago, I'd had an issue with trying to use an Arduino Nano with the pulse width control of the fan, where the fan definitely didn't like it. But I have found with this Mark ever his equipment.
Pressed the wrong button there. Right, I hope I've got audio again. Yeah, the storm is coming. Unfortunately, my outdoor camera there seems to have frozen, so we can't see too much of it, can we? The dish was starting to shake a bit. What's happened is I think the IR lights have come on, the voltage has dropped on the camera, and frozen. So there you go. It's definitely coming. We did have something of a storm yesterday. Hailstorm. You can see the dish there. It was collecting in it, and there was about a 6-inch pile in front of this dish of hail, and that was still there. So yes, it's not typical weather, is it? Now, what was it saying? Right, are we working here? Yeah, we are. Charlie Dimmock, yes. Sue sat behind me, she's watching TV. I wondered if anyone might notice that. I noticed the TV there, but I thought it might be a bit small for anybody else to see, so well spotted. You'll make a good detective there. In fact, Sue is behind me and can't be seen. Anyway. I think I'll say 73s to you all. It's been nice getting on again. I'll try and get on again next week. And who's next? Who do I pass it to? Is it Nigel? Yeah, it's 2E0.
Okay, thank you, Nigel. Just trying to mute this and not having any luck at all. I can mute the Ryde then. That's worked. Good. I think the batteries in the remote are suffering. Nigel, I think your audio level is now too high because it was cutting out occasionally, and Portstown has this annoying fault where it does that if your audio level is too high, so perhaps you need to turn that down a bit if you're going to use the headset. But the pictures were solid, so well done. Okay. I think that's it for tonight. There's no specific things I need to come back and comment on, but thank you all for coming on the net. Good to see we didn't have too many technical issues tonight. Good to see a good turnout. So look forward to seeing you all next week, and keep on transmitting. Let's see more UK stations on the transponder and on the bands. So that's good night from me, G8GKQ, closing the BATC net, and see you all next week.